Hello everyone, I'm back in one of my favorite places in the world, and in this video I'm going to show you why this place is not only a massively underrated travel destination but also an underrated and slept on fishing destination. Welcome to Taiwan, let's go do some fishing. Got down to the spot and I'm going to get straight into some fishing. I've not got loads of time, so I don't want to waste time, but as I'm going I'm going to talk you through a few things about Taiwan, why I love it here so much and what fishing there is on offer. And to kick off, let me show you the bait. We're starting with that, a good old classic frog bait from Megabass. It's got a cool popper mouth and that should give you a clue about what species we're starting off targeting. It is a fish that is synonymous with fishing in Taiwan for me, and it's the snakehead. So let's get started. So I've been coming to Taiwan for almost 10 years now. My girlfriend's from Taiwan and we try and come back every year for Chinese New Year. And I've been fishing here properly for about the last 4 years, I think, and I always look forward to coming back. And for me, the one species that I always target is the snakehead. It was one that I really wanted to tick off my bucket list when I first started fishing here, and every year since I've managed to get one. But it's never easy for two main reasons. Firstly, I always stay in the capital in Taipei, and that's where I am today actually. It might not look like it from here, but we're actually right in the city centre. And in the last 5 or 6 years since COVID, fishing has really blown up here. It's become so popular, which is a great thing. But what it does mean is that a lot of the waters in and around the city have become super pressured. And the snakehead, which you might know to be a really aggressive predator, in my experience is actually super shy. I'm staying in a slightly different area to where I usually stay this time. A little bit less central and in the suburbs, and I found this spot on Google Maps. This is like a wetland area, and I thought this place looked amazing. It's a proper snakeheady habitat, very swampy, full of lotus leaves. And one of the big things that got me really excited about it was when I was walking around the area, I didn't see anyone fishing. So I thought I'd maybe found a bit of a secret spot. But when I told my friends, they said, yeah, the reason there's no one fishing there is because it's absolutely terrible fishing. They said that a couple of years ago, this place got super pressured and a lot of the snakehead were actually taken out and killed. The main snakehead species that you find here is actually an invasive species, and understandably there are quite a few people who don't like them and want to get rid of them. And on top of that, there are also a few people who take them out for food as well. So that's one of the big issues with fishing for snakehead in and around the city. The other issue is that I always come here around Chinese New Year, which is in January, February time, and it's winter. You might not know it today. It's about 20 degrees and it's really muggy, which is great. But Taiwan's a semi-tropical island, so the summers are really hot and humid. And although by my standards it's not cold at all, there is a big temperature difference from the winter to the summer. So that makes it tricky. But with those excuses made, as I said, every time I've been, I have managed to catch one or two. It's been getting progressively more difficult, I think. Last time I didn't get one in Taipei. I had to travel north to a smaller town called Keelung. But fishing in Taiwan is not only about snakehead. There's so many different really cool species to go at. And I hope I can bring a bit of that to you, maybe today, but if not, I've got some exciting trips planned for the rest of my time here. I'm staying for 5 weeks in total. And I have actually been out fishing on this trip already. So last weekend, my good friend here, Jordan, took me out to a small town about 30-40 minutes north of Taipei. It's called Keelung. And we set out to do a bit of rock fishing from the coast, targeting different species of grouper and various rockfish. Unfortunately, we forgot to check the weather forecast. And as we were driving out there, we realized the weather was not good at all. It was chucking it down with rain, very windy. And when we arrived on the coast, what is usually a really beautiful coast, was getting battered by crashing waves. So we gave the rock fishing a try, but it was pretty much impossible. And we were pushed into the ports. But that was a really cool experience. We did some micro fishing in and around the ports, and there were all kinds of weird species to go for. Caught my first ever barracuda, albeit an absolutely tiny baby one. You know what, barracuda are on my bucket list, but I'm not really sure I could count that one. I'll have to go back for them again at some point. I also caught what I believe to be a big-eyed trevally, and in and around the port there are loads of pufferfish, and we were trying to catch them, but they were just not playing ball this time. We also saw a massive sea turtle and managed to rescue a seagull that had got tangled up in some fishing line. So it was an eventful day, although I didn't really film too much because of the weather. I've got a few more trips like that lined up for the coming weeks. And you know what, as I've become more and more familiar with Taiwan and been traveling here more and more, I've been able to explore a few different cities, and Taiwan's got so much more to offer than just Taipei. Taipei is one of my favorite cities in the world, it's brilliant, but Taiwan's full of cool little towns, cool cities, huge mountains. And what I love the most about this place is that nature is absolutely everywhere, even in the middle of the city. Let's change the spot. This is like a big wetland area. There are loads of big lakes to go at. It's a really big area. So I'm not going to spend too long in one spot. Very often you can actually see the snakehead. They hover around the surface layers, and every now and then they come up to blow air. So you can look out for signs and often spot them. It's going to be difficult in here because of all the growth, but that's what makes it such a great habitat for them. All right, so while the fishing is not absolutely on fire yet, let's do a little bit about why I love Taiwan so much. And I have to caveat this, I think, by saying I am a little bit biased. I come here every year. It feels like a bit of a second home to me. I speak Chinese fairly well, not to blow my own trumpet. I spent 4 years living in China, so that certainly helps with kind of getting to know people and feeling like you're a bit of a part of the place. But there are so many things that I love about this place, and I think to make it clear, I'm going to break it down into 3 main categories. Let's say landscape, food, and people. So on the landscape, I guess if you're watching this video and you're into fishing, like me, you're very much a nature person. You like the outdoors, you like your nature. And Taiwan's got so much of it to offer. It's a very, very mountainous island, very foresty, really cool rugged coastlines as well. Amazing little hidden streams. If you can get out into the mountains, you can do a bit of wild swimming in the waterfalls and streams. And it's one thing I really regret when we come here. We always have a lot of family things to do, and it's often very hard to find time to get out into the nature. But if you've got time and you're out here on a trip, there's so much to go at out there. But you don't have to get out of the city to experience nature in Taiwan, and that is why I love it so much here. Taipei is one of my favorite cities in the world. It's a huge modern city, but everywhere you look, there's nature here. When you look down the streets, you can see the mountains at the end, but also there's greenery just built into everything. It grows in and amongst the streets, it grows on people's balconies. And also, I believe, I might be wrong on this, but I believe there's a rule in Taipei which says that any buildings or residences that are built have to be within a certain distance of a green space or a park. People don't seem to spend a lot of time at home here, but there are so many public spaces that are not just concrete squares. They're full of amazing trees, plants. They've got workout equipment, seating areas, areas for old people to drink tea and play games. It's just one of the best things about this place, I think. Transport in Taipei is so easy. The metro system's amazing, and you can take the metro to get up into the mountains. So nature is so accessible even when you're in the middle of the city. And the city itself, I think, I'm not a massive architecture person, but I think the way that the city looks here is really cool. It's very retro. A lot of the apartments are quite old-fashioned and are kind of set up in small alleyways. And it's the kind of place where if you're in Europe, you might feel like it's a bit dangerous or you might feel a bit nervous there, but absolutely not here. This is one of the safest places on earth. You'll never find any trouble. And I just love the way that the retro apartments and alleyways look. I think it's so cool. So that's landscape. The second thing I love about Taiwan is the food. I'm very, very much into my breakfast, and I would put Taiwanese breakfast number 3 in the world. Controversially, actually number 1 is in no doubt for me, it's turkey. Turkish breakfast is unbelievable. Controversially, number 2 is the UK. English breakfast is very, very good. But third place is Taiwan for me. Taiwanese breakfast shops are a kind of icon of the country, and it's very, very much no frills. It's kind of like an English greasy spoon run by a couple of old ladies. No worries about the decoration or the look of the place, but it just feels very homely and the food is very homely. Some of the classics are egg pancakes, and you can choose the filling in those. There's also something called radish cake, which sounds terrible, but it's really good. You can also get Taiwanese style sandwiches, and if you prefer the more traditional Asian style breakfast, there are baozi and dumplings and all that kind of thing. It's absolutely great, and the food doesn't stop at breakfast. Taiwan's got some of the best food in the world, in my opinion. Beef noodles is a classic dish, and one of the most famous things to do in Taiwan is to spend an evening at a night market. They're spread out all around the cities here, and you can walk down them and try all different kinds of street food and also bigger meals as well. And if you want a really local experience, get yourself to a type of restaurant which here is called rechao. I'm not really sure how you'd translate it. If you translate it directly, it translates to hot fry, which doesn't sound that good. But basically a rechao is again a real no-frills restaurant, but it's big and it's designed for sitting down with a group of friends, eating loads of different dishes, a lot of hearty food, and also drinking beer at the same time. So when you go to a rechao, it's often very, very loud, a lot of people drinking and eating together, but the food is just so good. I'm not into kind of fine dining and all that kind of thing. I think food should be hearty, homely, and rechaos properly encapsulate that. So get yourself down to a rechao if you come to Taiwan. If you want some recommendations, give me a message. I've got a few of them saved. And then the other thing was people, right? So again, as I mentioned, I've maybe got a bit of an advantage here as I can communicate better with people. And by coming here every year, I've got to know quite a few people. I've got some good friends here, but I just find Taiwanese people to be so genuine. They're super, super easygoing. You can be whoever you want to be out here. You can wear whatever you want to wear. You don't have to dress up. And they're also some of the most genuinely kind people in the world, I think. Super laid back as well. And that suits me down to the ground. So that's a little part of what I love about Taiwan. But I feel like Taiwan really goes under the radar, although it does seem to be becoming a little bit more popular. So if you're considering a trip out in Asia, don't write Taiwan off. It's got some real hidden gems and something for everyone, including some very, very unique and fun fishing. So let's get back to that and focus on that a bit more. We need to try and catch a few fish today. So I've come across a pool here which has got much less cover. There's no lotus plants growing here. So I've switched to a vibrating lure because sometimes you can catch catfish on them. I'm starting to think my friend was definitely right about this place being overfished because apart from a tiny little baby, I haven't seen any snakehead at all. And usually even when you're not catching them, you're spotting a few. So that's a little bit disappointing because it's a really nice place, but it is what it is. I've got loads of time left on this trip and plenty of other places to go to. A moment ago, I came across a little swampy area in the corner of one of these lakes, and I found a big group of carp. And I was gonna have a go for them, but I quickly realized that they were pretty aggressively spawning, so I thought it was best to leave them to it. If you like your carp fishing, I am thinking about doing a carp fishing video here on this trip, which should be quite interesting, a bit of urban carp fishing. So stay tuned for that. As for today, kind of running out of time a little bit now, and it doesn't look like it's gonna happen, but you never know. Oh, we've caught something. We've caught something. Look at that, and it's hooked properly in the mouth as well. Well, get in, it fought. Well, it didn't fight at all, that. What's going on? Well, that was a little bit underwhelming, from the bite to the fight to the fish itself. But do you know what? We're off the mark in Taipei for this year. That is called a chuyao yu. And I think the English name, I just checked, maybe you could call it sky gazer. And that, I imagine, is because of that mouth. Look how prominently underslung, that is. So that's definitely feeding on things in the surface layers. Or it could be called a predatory carp, or Google says that anyway. And do you know what? I'm gonna take that all day long. They do hit lures, these fish. My mates have told me about them. And this fish hit the vibrating lure. It was hooked clean in the mouth. No accident, so it's a very strange one, but we'll take it all day long. That's a new species for me. Could be a blank saver only, but we'll take it all day long. Let's get you back in over here. Nice one. All right, that is enough. I'm super late. I need to get home. I've spent way too long trying to catch snakehead. They just simply were not there. If they were, we'd have seen them. So I think we're probably going with the theory that this place is just too overfished, too overpressured. And that probably tells you you've got to listen to the locals. They know what they're talking about. Anyway, have I proved to you why I think Taiwan is an underrated fishing destination? I imagine on that showing, absolutely not, but you're gonna have to trust me and stick with me here because I've got some really cool trips lined up for the coming weeks. I plan to go and fish for a variety of different species in a variety of different locations. So we've got some urban fishing coming up, hopefully getting out into the mountains and heading down to the south of the island as well. So stick with me, stay tuned. If you don't believe me, you can have a look at some of my videos from last year in Taiwan, and I'll leave them on the end screen as well. Apart from that, I also wanted to introduce you to Taiwan and show you a little bit about why I love it so much here. And I hope I've done a better job of doing that. And there's going to be loads more travel, food and nature stuff in the upcoming videos as well. So stick with it. I promise you, by the end of this trip, I'm going to show you why Taiwan is such an underrated travel destination and an underrated destination for fishing as well. Thank you very much if you've made it this far. At least it wasn't a blank, eh? And see you on the next one. Cheers.